Gmail and Yahoo and all the other free tools weren't enough, you could have Zoho Mail. You could have Zoho Writer, which is an online word processor. Zoho Sheet, that's your equivalent of spreadsheet management there. Zoho Show for presentations. Notebook, which is similar to OneNote if you've ever used the Microsoft OneNote tool. Create a wiki, have collaborative meetings. I haven't used 9/10 of this, but it's an incredibly robust platform and they keep adding to it. They add rather than take away, and it's free. It's free.
Do you have any idea how they make money?
No, I don't. Sometimes they're ad-based. So, for example, my free version of AirSet, they've now let advertising show up in the sidebar. It's not big, it's not too disruptive. If it keeps that tool going, I'm happy to have that display. Zoho does do, I think, a little bit on the advertising model, but not enough that I'm thinking that that was disruptive to my using it.
When I looked at it for the one user, and personal use, it's free. But if you're in a business,
Oh, that could
they
be.
pay for play, and you look at the pricing, they have.
Because I know some of their tools are free for
Some are free and.
everybody. And some of them probably do have, yeah, the CRM, a little bit.
And you start working with groups of people.
But for the smaller organizations, again, if you want a really integrated set of tools, these work pretty well together. So good option. Thanks for pointing that out, because I haven't used the CRM tool in quite a while, since I discovered Batchbook and now Javelin. And a fourth one here to take a look at. Oprius is not free, it is a paid model, but if you're looking for something that has a little bit more all-in-one place, their calendaring tool is pretty good. You can kind of tie it into your telephone if you like having the the computer-based telephone options. Just a really nice visual image. I'm big on how it looks. I don't know, not all of you are, but if that's important to you, Oprius is a good one to take a look at because it is, as I said, very robust, and it has a really nice, useful interface. But not free. The trial is free. Questions? Contact management. Yes, ma'am?
It's a suggestion or another option. I, for years, have used a Palm Pilot, and so I like Palm Desktop.
Yes.
And I know that you can download that for free from
Yes, you can.
palm.com. And
Yeah.
I ran my own business for 11 years using Palm Desktop. I could print off labels. I could tell it where to start printing on the labels, so I never had the
Yes.
odd sheet of labels left over. It has a great calendar. You can sort. You can assign categories. So clients are here, or even specific clients, or a specific company, and all the people in that company. I love it.
Yeah, that is another great option. I played with it a little bit. I moved from a Palm-based handheld, now I've got a BlackBerry. So that was one of the reasons I decided not to go forward with it, but it is a very useful tool. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's a good one. Thoughts, comments, suggestions, utility? Newsletters. Yes, ma'am.
So if you were keeping all of your content management on a paid system that was web-based,
Mm-hmm.
when you stop paying, where does all your data go?
Most of them, the ones that I've worked with, always have an option for you to download or to back up, and so you can store locally. If you stop paying, your data stays in the cloud, if you will. Some of them will retain that information for a certain period of time, in case you decide you want to resubscribe at some point. In other cases, it goes away. And you have to rely, this is a question, this is a concern. If I'm putting all of my contact information out there in the cloud, if you will, who has access to it? And you have to rely on, do I trust them? Do they have ample security? Because you can go in and look for each one of these organizations. You can kind of see what their security structure is and how carefully they back up, because you want to make sure they're backing up the data too, of course. How often do they back up? How reliable is that backup? What are your policies on privacy and data security? I've not heard of, you can tell me if maybe someone's heard differently, I've not heard of an incident where somebody hacked into a Javelin or a BatchBlue and extracted data from them. It certainly means it's a possibility. In terms of retention of that information, storage is still fairly pricey. So what they told me online and what my assumption is that if your account dries up, eventually within their time frame, they'll overwrite that information because they'll use that storage space for somebody else's data. But that is a huge question. Of course, that's one reason why corporate organizations are so excited about the cloud. They want to retain that information in their servers, their company's servers. Well, then you're trusting that they have a backup plan in place and they have security in place. And of course, most large responsible organizations certainly do that. But that is a very realistic concern. That's something that you would have to, be comfortable. We've got to talk about this. Is this something that we're comfortable with? Now, every day our emails are flying back and forth and all of that information is encrypted. And if somebody wanted to, they could drop in and listen to your emails and collect data that way. Again, I'm not hearing of a whole lot of, if you're a hacker and you're going to break into stuff, you're going to break into things that have a lot more utility probably than listening to the email streams. But email every day is unencrypted. So don't ever send anything important like, bank account numbers and passwords. Don't send that stuff through email because that is problematic. But that's a great question. Did I touch on that a little bit? Yeah. Email marketing. A lot of different tools out there, tons of them. And again, each one of these has different pricing tiers. For smaller organizations, sending out smaller numbers of emails, you're probably going to get away with the free plans in a number of these, using a number of these tools. One of the reasons that I like MailChimp is because you can have up to 500 subscribers and send up to 3,000 emails a month for free. I think for a lot of organizations that would be pretty useful. If you're big, and you've got a 10,000 person subscriber list, that's not going to work for you. You're probably going to have to move up to a paid plan. But again, the pricing on most of these is pretty reasonable. And all of these are pretty similar in terms of how you construct the email. So you'd want to take a look at, for example, I'm a big believer in templates. I don't do HTML coding. When I help people create their own websites, I use template-based tools and create the content and tweak what's available. So I'm always looking at the utility of the template. Other people, if you're in a large organization, you have a graphic shop or you're able to create your own HTML templates, you'd have a different set of issues that you're looking at. So pricing-wise, again, you've got to kind of compare, make sure you're comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So if you're really at the big subscriber numbers, 25 to 50,000 subscribers, it's going to cost you a little bit. But to have that number of subscribers, you're probably generating revenue of some type that's really paying for that. I mean, if you're mailing to 50,000 people and you can't cover $250 a month, what are you mailing? What are you selling? So again, some of these tools allow you to do more emails a month to fewer people. Some allow you to have more people but fewer emails. You have to kind of shop and compare a little bit. But they are generally quite easy to use. If you've got the content, the communication that you want to have, sit down, strategize. What are we trying to say? How often do we want to say it? If you're sending out announcements for courses, class information, you might be sending out 1 a week, 2 a week. Again, just depends on your organization. So you'd want to look at, is this useful information for the folks that we're sending it to? Why are we communicating with them? What do we hope to get from that? Mad Mimi, again, pretty similar. I like these guys because their customer service is superb. They're on Twitter. Most of these companies now are on Twitter as well, but I've emailed this guy, he's emailed me back. Their company's getting a little bit bigger now, so he has more customer service people available, but I always get a personal response from them almost as soon as I send off the email. So from a customer service standpoint, I think they do a terrific job. And again, their pricing is pretty comparable. Thinking. So for the pro, $8 to $10 a month.